Mossberg MC1sc.
But does it take lock mags?
Yes, it does. Sunday GUNDAY. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and in a world full of Glock 43s and Smith & Wesson shields, SIG 365s, XD9s, Walther PPSs, and all of the other subcompact microguns out there, do we really need any more? Is it wise for a company that is primarily known for making shotguns to try to make one of their own and try to break into the oversaturated market? Well, here I have the Mossberg MC1sc, and it definitely fits that description, so today we're going to take a closer look at it. The MC1sc is the first handgun Mossberg has made in 100 years, no joke. It is pretty much on par with all of the competition, single stack, polymer frame, striker fired 9mm, with 6-in-1 or 7-in-1 rounds depending on the mag. A few points that caught my eye were the options for sights, all of which are metal. These are the standard 3 dots, but they are also offered with true glows or a Viridian laser right from the factory. Serrations, both front and rear, are a nice touch, keeping the playing field even with some of the other options out there. And the trigger looks very reminiscent of another, which for this video I will not name. Other than that, you have some texturing on the frame as well as a swappable mag button for any lefties out there who want to give this thing a try. Now, while this seems to be running with the rest of the competition, it really gets a leg up for the price point because this thing is coming in at just about 350 bucks. Now, like I said, is a pistol like this something that we really need? With everything else that is in the market now, it is kind of oversaturated. I am curious to see if this thing will get adopted over time because this is fairly new. And if you have watched my SHOT Show coverage, you will know that I have already shot this. I did put 2 mags through it, but for now I'm going to pretend like I have not done that and then put 2 more mags down myself. I'm going to load both of these up, put a couple rounds down, and then I will come back for my first mag impression. Now I'm going to start with the 6-round magazine. As you can see, they're transparent and you can see all 6 rounds. This magazine is keeping this thing as small and compact as possible. I already know that I'm not going to like this because I can't get my pinky on it, but then I'll switch over to the 7-round that has that extra little pinky extension on there. Let's see what this thing is all about. It's actually not bad with that little mag in there, but I do guarantee that this one is going to be much more pleasant. All right, first mag impression time. Alright guys, if you watch my SHOT Show coverage, you will see that I have already shot this gun, like I said, and if you did watch that, then you will probably know what I think about it. If you haven't, here we go. When I first got my hands on this thing, thought it was ugly. I still don't think it's the best looking gun ever, but that's kind of besides the point. I also had very low expectations for it with the way that it might feel and shoot when it's actually in my hand. With the first 2 mags that I put through back at SHOT, it started to change my mind, and then now that I put 2 more through it, it definitely has me thinking a little bit differently than I had originally. Ergonomically, the gun feels pretty good in my hand. I think it points relatively naturally. I would probably compare this to a 43 and a shield rather than a 365. The 365 just has a very weird grip angle, and this thing kind of falls in between the Smith & Wesson and the Glock, so it actually is not that bad. Now, as far as the grip goes, it's not very aesthetically pleasing, like I said, but it does feel pretty functional. It's not super aggressive, but if my hands are sweaty at all, I don't think that this thing is going to be jumping out of them. The whole gun in its entirety is sort of rounded off, as you can see here towards the muzzle and then the top contour of the slide. Even the trigger guard, there are no sharp angles on here, so I think this thing would actually be very comfortable to carry all day long, and that is basically the market that this thing is trying to tackle. Now the grip is relatively slim, and like I said, I do like the pinky extension on there. Without that, it just kind of falls off the end there, but this definitely allows you to get a better purchase on there. And with or without that grip, I was actually able to mitigate recoil pretty well. Maybe it is because I've been shooting a lot more of these very small guns recently, but I definitely do not feel that this thing is snappier than a Glock 43 or a SIG 365. The front serrations are definitely a nice touch. I do not have any issue at all manipulating this slide. Even with an empty magazine in there, you can see the orange follower, nice touch. Even with that empty mag in there, I can reach up and close this slide if I need to. All of the controls are very easily accessible. Although the gun is small, I do have to kind of move my hand out of the way if I'm dropping this mag. So far, I think it was actually executed very well. The sights are metal, that's a nice touch. If I were actually going to purchase this gun to use, I would probably opt for the True Glow option that you can get from the factory. But overall, I think they do have a really good thing going here. Now I only have 2 mags, but like you saw in the intro there, I do have another Glock mag. There's gonna be a lot of reloading today, so let me load a couple of these up and then we will go out and shoot this thing just a little bit more. First up, I'm gonna start by running a Glock 43 mag, 43, not 43X. These things do work with the stock base plates. If you are running an extended base plate or something that hangs out the back of the magazine, it will not work in the Mossberg because as you can see here, there is a little bit of overhang. As an example, my Terran Tactical +3 extensions on the 43 mags would not work in this. That's not a huge deal to me because it is still a nice touch that it does accept other manufacturers' magazines. It even locks back too with those mags. All right, 6 plates and we only got 6 rounds. Your misses will show. Let's try a little distance at about 50 yards without the help of that grip extension. Not too shabby out of this tiny little thing. I honestly don't think I need to shoot this thing anymore. Alright guys, back for my final thoughts on the Mossberg MC1sc. I kind of cut that shooting sequence short a little bit because I already feel like I have a good impression of this gun. I'll hit it right from the top and just say that I think Mossberg actually has a very nice pistol here. Like I said, I came into this with very low expectations. I kind of wasn't expecting a whole lot of good to come out of this gun. But ever since that first mag impression out in Vegas and now shooting it some more here on my own range, I actually feel like this might be a good gun to recommend. Now, because I'm not going to be able to spend a whole lot of time shooting this thing and testing the actual durability and reliability of it, I can't actually recommend it on that aspect. However, as far as bang for your buck that you're getting with the MC1sc, I think there is actually a lot of good value here, especially because this thing is coming in at about the $350 mark. Now, I've covered pretty much everything on this gun already except for the trigger, and that is where you are actually getting something very nice from Mossberg. Here you can see the trigger shoe. It is very nice and flat, which is a big plus in my book. I definitely shoot flatter triggers like this way better than anything else. It is polymer, so it is a little bit plasticky, but that is to be expected with guns of this caliber. I'll put my finger on that little safety blade in the middle to get it out of the way. It is definitely not obtrusive at all. There's a little bit of take up back to a wall where it starts to get a little bit tougher. I'll pull through that. Little bit of a creep, and then you get that break. I wouldn't say that the break is super crisp and clean, but it is relatively predictable. It may be a little bit hollow feeling, if you know what I mean when I say that. Reset. You can definitely hear the springs working on the inside there. It is tactile and audible, maybe not the best trigger I've ever put my hands on, but I think that trigger shoe actually makes up for a lot of that. It's not really gritty or anything like that. I can definitely find that wall. It is predictable, like I said. There is just something about this trigger that I actually really like, and I believe it all comes from that shoe and the profile of it. I've said this in videos in the past, but it's not every day that you can just pick a gun up out of the box and shoot it very well, especially a gun this small, because my hands are relatively big and they just kind of encapsulate this entire gun. But after just a couple mags there, I do feel pretty confident in this gun. I can get a nice sight picture. I like the proportions of the sights. All of the controls are very easy to access. It's got a lot of good things that I look for in EDC type of guns. I'm still actually really impressed with this trigger. Like I said, it's not the best, but it is very functional. I actually like it a lot. For a polymer frame striker fired single stack gun like this, that is definitely a nice trigger. So I really don't have a whole lot more to say about the MC1sc other than it's a gun. It's a relatively good option, I guess. Like I said, I'm not going to be testing the longevity, durability, reliability of it, but I definitely think that Mossberg is breaking into the overly saturated market with a good product here. I am curious to see how sales of the MC1sc are going to go, and I actually would not be surprised if a lot of people adopt this new handgun, because I think there is a lot of good value here, especially since it is more of a budget type of pistol. So that's really all that I had for today. If you guys have any questions on the Mossberg MC1sc, let me know in the comments down below. I have to give a huge thank you to my friends at Panda Tactical for sending this out for a review. I'm actually going to be sending this back to them, so if you want to buy this exact gun that was featured on Sunday GUNDAY, it should be available at the time that this video is going live. So again, big thank you to Panda Tactical. Thank you to all of the patrons who support this channel on Patreon. Without you guys, I would not be making these videos. And I think that is going to be it. So if you are new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week. That is going to be all for today. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.